BigCountryPreps.com. I'm Evan Wren, and this is our countdown to two-a-days series. Our daily look at an area football team and the key questions we're going to be answering about that team in our Wednesday, August 17th preseason preview here at Big Country Preps. Here with my partner, Dan Youngblood, via Zoom. And tonight, Dan, we're talking about the Cross Plains Buffaloes, a team that we expect to really improve this year.
Yeah, this is a team that on paper looks like they could be a factor in that district of theirs. They've got almost everybody back from last year's team, which went 6-5, 16 of their 19 lettermen back, including all 11 starters on offense, 9 of 11 starters on defense. And they've got some really nice skill players among that group. So I think if you're Coach Purvis or a fan of this program, you got to be pretty excited about the forecast of this season. They've got a good group. The key questions there, I think, when you look at it, they're in a tough district. You've got Albany, you've got Roscoe. So the key question there is are they going to be improved enough to compete at that level? We'll have to see, but I do think that this is a team that will be a force to be reckoned with in that district of theirs.
Another key question, I think, is how far forward can a sophomore quarterback move ahead? I would expect quite a bit. Cade Purvis was the starter last year as a freshman. Still a little on the small side. He's only 5'11", 140 pounds, but he's a gamer. I got to see him firsthand play against Haskell last year. And he is a gutsy kid, as you would expect Coach Daniel Purvis's kid to be. So we'll see how much he improves. And he did have a problem with some interceptions there, but you would expect that out of a ninth grader. I would expect him to improve quite a bit. And they do have a good senior class and a good solid junior class in front of him. You know, he's got a great surrounding cast. If he shows some improvement, if he matures a little bit more and cleans up the mistakes, this could be a very good year for Cross Plains.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of touched on it. I think anytime you have a first-year starter, they're going to make some mistakes, particularly when that kid's a freshman. But I think that Cade Purvis certainly showed that he's got some talent. Threw for over 1,200 yards last year, 15 touchdowns. And the great thing about him this year is he's got a bunch of really good skill players around him. When you talk about guys like Ryan Hopkins, Noah Moses, Ryan Reed, some really speedy kids, some guys that were on that track team that had some really, really strong relays. So this is going to be a very fast team. And one thing that's a little unusual for them this year, they're usually not very big up front. This year, they're going to be a little bit bigger than normal. They've got some serious size in front of those skill guys. It's going to be interesting to see kind of how they operate offensively. He's going to have a lot of weapons to work with and a bigger line to protect him this year.
Absolutely. And when you've got a young quarterback, what's the best way to take pressure off that young quarterback? If you can run the football, if you can knock people on their butt and gain yards, 4 or 5, 6 yards, and take a lot of pressure off him, it makes his job a lot easier. Now, I would expect him to take a step forward and be more mature this year. I think he will. But they're going to be able to knock people over and really take a lot of pressure off him and move the football on the ground if they stay healthy.
Yeah, that's what's funny is looking at this team. I think they've got a lot of reason to be excited. I think they may be a team that people are sleeping on a little bit. The only thing to me that could be a potential limiting factor is the fact that, again, you're in a district with Albany, which is a perennial power, and Roscoe, which is on the rise. They've got a lot of talent over there as well. But this Cross Plains team, I'm looking forward to talking to Coach Purvis about this group because I would imagine he's really excited about it, and he should be. You look at what they've got back, and you look at the defenses that he's built over the years, they're going to play defense. They always play defense. And it looks like offensively they're going to have a lot of weapons too. This is going to be a fun team. I'm excited about this year for the Cross Plains Buffaloes.
All right, let's take a quick look at the Cross Plains schedule for 2022. In the non-district portion, they open up with winners. They've got a home date with De Leon. They're going to travel out to Hico. That's going to be on September the 19th. On September 16th, the Junction Eagles come to town. That's my wife's alma mater. And then on the 23rd, they will face Smyre on a neutral field up at Snyder. That's on the 23rd again.
And then they open district with a couple of real toughies. We talked about them, but they go to Roscoe, to Albany to start district. And then their schedule lightens up quite a bit. They have Hamlin coming to their place, go to Abilene TLCA, and then finish up with what could be a big game at home against Miles. But they've definitely got a front-loaded, I think, non-district schedule and a front-loaded district schedule. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
You know, the way things look, you know, the way with all the weaponry and the size that Cross Plains has coming back. Now we normally bring out or talk about the game of the year for certain ball clubs. Well, you know what? I think Cross Plains is a playoff team. I don't think there's any question about that. However, one game that could really get them up in the upper echelon and maybe get them a higher seed is if they can go toe to toe on the road at Roscoe and come away with a win. If they have enough to win there, I'm not saying they do. I'm not saying they don't just yet. We'll talk about that on the 17th. of August. But that looks like a very interesting game. If we want to talk about the game of the year, I think actually if they beat Hamlin on September 21st, they lock down a playoff spot. But if they want an upper seed and a good first round draw, that game at Roscoe really bears some importance.
Yeah, that's a big one. And I really like the way that their non-district schedule sets up. They got a couple of what I think will be really good competitive games early in the non-district portion with Winters, DeLeon, Heiko. Those are all going to be quality opponents to play, teams that are on the rise a little bit. And then you finish up with Junction at Smyard with a chance to kind of go into district maybe with some momentum. But this is going to be a big challenge, like you said, right when they get to district. That game at Roscoe is a huge one for them. If they can win that could be the separation or the difference between maybe being the runner up in this district and then playing Albany the next week for a potential state or district championship game, or whether you're going to have to win your last three to get that 3 seed. So it's gonna be interesting. But I do think this team, regardless of their record, regardless of how that plays out during the district portion, I think this is going to be a really quality team and going to be one that you're going to see in the playoffs, and that will be a tough out.
One thing I like about that non-district portion is that there's everybody on that. It's 5 winnable games, but it's also 5 competitive games. I think every one of those teams in that lineup expects to field a competitive group this year. DeLeon and Heiko expect to be better. I think Junction will be better. So it's a good schedule for Cross Plains. There are winnable games, but there are no gimmies, and I think that it'll give them a nice row of tests prior to district.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a really nice non-district schedule for them. That's gonna set them up well for district. And then, like we talked about, they go right into district with a couple of big matchups, particularly that one at Roscoe, which you and I are probably already circling on our calendar, and we'll be putting out the Evans 11 on the 17th, and that one will probably find its way on there. I'm excited about that matchup and really just what Cross Plains put on the field in general. So it's gonna be a fun season for the Buffaloes.
And with that, we're going to wrap up tonight's episode of the Countdown to Two-A-Days series, the Cross Plains Buffaloes. But before we do that, we want to remind you that we got 3 separate subscription packages here at BigCountryPreps.com. We've got a monthly for $5 a month. We've got a semi-annual subscription, a 6-month subscription where we knock that price down to $4 a month. And then we've got an annual 12-month subscription where we knock that price down to $3 a month, $36 for a full year of Big Country High School athletic coverage. And please notice that our prices are unchanged, inflation or no inflation.
And we'd also like to remind you before we wrap up this episode of our Countdown series to be on the lookout for our preseason preview, which again comes out August 17th on the website. There will be a ton of content. You will not want to miss that. In the meantime, thank you for joining us for this episode of our Countdown to Two-A-Days series, and make sure you join us again tomorrow when we'll be talking about those Roscoe Plowboys here at BigCountryPreps.com.